What if the world we know was built upon secrets too strange to believe? What if beneath our feet lie forgotten cities, colossal monuments, and mysterious sites that defy everything we think we know about history? From the deserts of Egypt to the jungles of South America, from the frozen plains of Siberia to the depths of the Mediterranean, the earth is scattered with clues, fragments of something far older, far more advanced, and infinitely more mysterious than we can explain. These are not just ruins, they are echoes, whispers left behind by civilizations who somehow harnessed knowledge beyond their time. Some carved entire mountains into temples aligned perfectly with the stars. Others built monoliths so massive that even modern technology struggles to replicate them. And many simply vanished. In this journey, we travel to the most bizarre and awe-inspiring ancient sites on Earth. Places where science and myth blur together, where logic ends and wonder begins. These are the places that challenge our understanding of who we are and where we came from. Because sometimes, the past isn't behind us. Sometimes, it's hidden in plain sight, waiting for us to see. So open your mind. Forget what you think you know about history, because what you're about to see may just change the way you see the world itself. This is Bizarre Ancient Sites that will leave you speechless. Uncover the forgotten underground city, said to lie beneath the sands of Egypt. A labyrinth of 3,000 rooms once described by ancient historians but never found. Could it still exist beneath our feet? Beneath the endless sands of Egypt, a legend whispers, not of the pyramids, not of the Sphinx, but of something far greater. A city lost to time. A labyrinth so vast and complex that even the pharaohs feared what lay inside. Imagine corridors stretching for miles beneath the desert, walls carved with stories of gods and stars, and chambers filled with secrets that could rewrite everything we know about ancient civilization. This isn't fantasy, it's a mystery described by the Greek historian Herodotus, and one that may still be hidden beneath the Egyptian soil today. Welcome to the Lost Labyrinth of Egypt. Herodotus called it one of the wonders of the world, a structure so immense it made the pyramids seem insignificant. According to his writings, the labyrinth had 12 courts and 3,000 rooms, half above ground, half below. He claimed that the upper chambers were filled with magnificent carvings, while the lower ones held the tombs of kings and sacred crocodiles. Later travelers, like Strabo and Pliny the Elder, echoed these tales. They all agreed on one thing: whoever built the labyrinth possessed knowledge and power far beyond their time. But here's the twist. No one has ever found it. Archaeologists have searched for centuries, yet the desert guards its secrets well. Some believe the labyrinth once stood near the ancient city of Hawara, close to the Fayum oasis, a place that was once lush, green, and vital to Egypt's heartland. Beneath this region, modern ground-penetrating radar has detected massive rectangular anomalies, patterns that suggest buried structures far larger than any known tomb. Could this be the labyrinth? Could the lost city still sleep beneath the sand, its entrance buried by thousands of years of silence? What's truly fascinating is the symbolism. The labyrinth wasn't just architecture. It was a reflection of Egyptian cosmology. The endless corridors mirrored the journey of the soul through the afterlife. The challenges, the confusion, the final enlightenment. Every passage may have represented a stage in that spiritual journey, guiding both kings and initiates toward divine wisdom. Some scholars even believe it wasn't merely a tomb or temple, but a physical map of the Egyptian universe, an ancient code carved in stone. Yet, this mystery takes a stranger turn when we look at the technology required to build it. The supposed scale of the labyrinth, thousands of stone chambers perfectly aligned, supported by colossal walls, seems impossible without advanced knowledge of engineering, mathematics, and geology. How did ancient builders move such immense materials? How did they design a structure that, if Herodotus was right, dwarfed the Great Pyramid itself? When archaeologists like Flinders Petrie excavated parts of Hawara in the late 19th century, They found enormous stone foundations, pieces of an ancient complex that matched parts of Herodotus's description. But what they didn't find were the rooms, corridors, or tombs beneath. Some now believe the entire lower level remains untouched, sealed beneath the water table, an underground world waiting to be rediscovered. Modern expeditions using advanced scanning technologies have revealed patterns consistent with large chambers and corridors. However, Egyptian authorities have restricted deeper excavation, perhaps to protect what lies below, or perhaps because some discoveries challenge traditional timelines. Could it be that Egypt's labyrinth predates the dynastic civilization we know? Could it belong to a forgotten era, when humans built on a scale we still struggle to comprehend? The idea isn't as far-fetched as it sounds. Around the world, we've found other megalithic structures that defy explanation, temples in Turkey older than writing itself, and stone blocks in Lebanon that weigh more than modern cranes can lift. What if the labyrinth was part of this lost age, the last remnant of a civilization erased by time and catastrophe? Standing in the hot wind of Hawara today, it's hard to imagine that an entire underground world could lie beneath your feet. But Egypt is full of such secrets: tombs found beneath homes, buried cities beneath new ones, entire dynasties sleeping beneath sand. Every grain could hide history. And so, the labyrinth remains one of Egypt's most haunting enigmas, an echo of human ambition, genius, and mystery. Whether it was real or myth, the idea of such a place, a hidden temple of knowledge beneath the desert, still captures our imagination, because deep down, we all feel it. Some stories refuse to stay buried forever. As the desert winds shift and new technologies peer beneath the surface, the sands of time may yet uncover Egypt's greatest secret, the labyrinth that could change everything we thought we knew about the ancient world. Thousands of miles from civilization, massive stone heads stare silently over the Pacific. Who carved them? How were they moved? And what secret messages do they hold? Deep in the Peruvian Andes, where clouds drift like ghosts through valleys carved by ancient hands, there lies a place so strange it seems born from another world. A city suspended between heaven and earth, Machu Picchu, hidden for centuries among jagged peaks and emerald terraces. This ancient citadel is one of humanity's most mysterious creations. But here's the question that has haunted archaeologists for over a century: who really built it? And why? Imagine climbing a narrow trail through thick mist, and then suddenly, the clouds part, and before you lies a city sculpted from stone, perfectly aligned with the mountains around it. The air hums with energy, like the mountain itself is alive. Machu Picchu isn't just beautiful, it's otherworldly, as if it was placed there with divine intent. Every wall, every stair, every stone feels deliberate. Discovered in 1911 by explorer Hiram Bingham, Machu Picchu quickly became known as the lost city of the Incas. But the truth is more complex. The Incas didn't leave any written records explaining its purpose. There are no inscriptions, no ancient tablets, no maps, only silent stone walls that whisper secrets across the centuries. Was it a royal retreat? A temple of the sun? A hidden refuge for priests? Or something far more profound, a gateway between the earthly and the divine? The precision of the stonework defies belief. Massive granite blocks, some weighing over 50 tons, fit together with such accuracy that not even a razor blade can slip between them. No mortar, no modern tools, just pure engineering, perfection. How could a civilization without the wheel or iron tools carve and move these stones across impossible mountain terrain? The Incas called their builders sons of the sun, but perhaps they were also masters of a knowledge we no longer understand. Then there's the location. Machu Picchu wasn't built just anywhere. Its position is astronomically aligned with the solstices, the stars, and the sacred peaks surrounding it. On June 21st, the winter solstice, the first light of dawn strikes precisely through the Temple of the Sun, illuminating a small stone in the inner chamber, marking the Incan New Year. It's as if the entire city was designed to speak to the cosmos itself. Some believe Machu Picchu was part of a greater spiritual network, a series of sacred sites stretching across the Andes, connected by invisible lines known as sequays. These pathways aligned with the stars, rivers, and mountains, forming a vast map of the Incan universe. If that's true, then Machu Picchu wasn't just a city, it was a living instrument of cosmic harmony, a bridge between the human and the divine. And yet, despite its beauty and precision, Machu Picchu was abandoned. No one knows why. The Spanish conquistadors never found it. It remained untouched, while the rest of the Incan Empire fell to ruin. Perhaps the priests and nobles who lived here vanished into the jungle? Or perhaps the city was never meant for human habitation in the first place. Maybe it served its purpose and was left to return to the earth. Some researchers suggest Machu Picchu existed long before the Incas. The site's foundations, carved deep into the mountain, bear similarities to even older megalithic sites in Peru like Sacsayhuaman and Ollantaytambo, where stones of impossible size and precision form patterns that predate the Incan Empire. Could Machu Picchu be a reactivated site, reused by later civilizations who only inherited its mysteries? There's also the question of energy, yes, energy. Visitors often speak of feeling a strange vibration at Machu Picchu, a pulse in the ground, a sense of being part of something vast and eternal. Scientists might dismiss it as suggestion, but ancient cultures across the world believed in the Earth's life force, what some call ley lines. And Machu Picchu seems to sit directly upon one of the most powerful intersections. Even the terraces, those cascading green steps carved into the mountainside, were more than agriculture. They were environmental masterpieces, regulating temperature, preventing erosion, and channeling rainwater in perfect balance. The Incas were not just builders. They were ecological engineers, working in harmony with the planet, not against it. But maybe the greatest mystery of all is what Machu Picchu represents: the unbroken connection between man, nature, and the universe. Standing on its sacred stones, with condors soaring above and clouds drifting below, you can almost feel time dissolving. The stones don't just tell history, they embody it. Machu Picchu wasn't built to impress. It was built to transcend, to remind us that there are still places on Earth where the veil between worlds feels paper thin, where, for a moment, you can glimpse eternity. In the heart of the Andes, between mountain and sky, this lost city still waits, not for discovery but for understanding. Because Machu Picchu isn't just an ancient wonder, it's a message carved in stone, one that says, you are part of something far greater than yourself. Explore the ancient ruins of Baalbek, where stones weighing over 1,000 tons were placed with superhuman precision. Did ancient engineers have knowledge we've forgotten? Beneath the shifting red sands of Jordan lies a city that shouldn't exist, a city carved, not built, sculpted into rose-colored cliffs by hands that understood stone as though it were clay. Petra, the Rose City, a place where legend and history intertwine so tightly that truth becomes myth. Travelers who approach it from the narrow Seek, a winding gorge flanked by towering canyon walls, describe a moment that feels almost supernatural. The air cools, the sound of footsteps echoes, and then suddenly, the canyon opens, and there it stands, Al-Khazne, the treasury, glowing gold in the morning light, like a dream pulled from another world. But Petra is far more than one grand facade. It is a labyrinth of temples, tombs, and ancient houses cut directly into rock, an entire civilization frozen in time. Once a thriving capital of the Nabatean kingdom over 2,000 years ago, Petra was a crossroads of trade, wealth, and mystery. Spices from Arabia, silks from China, gold from Egypt, they all passed through here, enriching a people who mastered the desert and built one of the most astonishing cities in human history. Yet, as incredible as its beauty is, the deeper question lingers: how did they do it? The Nabateans were not empire builders in the traditional sense. They didn't construct vast armies or conquer new lands. Instead, they conquered the impossible, the desert itself. In a region where rain was scarce and the heat relentless, they engineered a complex network of dams, cisterns, and water channels that captured and stored every drop. To this day, archaeologists still marvel at their water systems, which were so advanced they could supply tens of thousands of people and even sustain gardens and fountains in one of the driest regions on Earth. And yet, what's most haunting about Petra is its silence. Its creators left behind no written records, no clear explanation for how their society rose or how it disappeared. When the Romans arrived in 106 AD, Petra was still prosperous. But over the following centuries, it began to fade. Earthquakes shattered its monuments, trade routes shifted, and the desert reclaimed what was once one of the richest cities on the planet. By the time the Crusaders passed through the region, Petra was already a ghost forgotten by history, known only to local Bedouins who whispered of a lost city of the pharaohs. But even after its rediscovery in the 19th century, Petra's secrets refused to give themselves up easily. The treasury, for example, that majestic facade carved 40 meters high into solid sandstone, isn't a treasury at all. No one truly knows what it was built for. Some believe it was a royal tomb, others, a temple. And there are even legends that claim it hides vast riches within treasure buried by ancient kings, guarded by curses and spirits. The marks of bullet holes in the urn above the entrance are proof of old Bedouin attempts to shoot it open, hoping to spill gold from the heavens. The deeper you go into Petra, the stranger it becomes. There are hundreds of tombs carved into the cliffs, each different, each echoing architectural styles from Greece, Rome, and Egypt, yet somehow distinctly Nabatean. It's as if this city was a meeting place of worlds, a living museum of global influence long before globalization existed. And the Nabateans? They thrived in this cultural crossroad, mastering languages, astronomy, and trade in a way few others did. The Grand Monastery, Ad-Dir, towers high above the valley, a massive structure even larger than the treasury. Climbing to its top takes hundreds of steps, each one cut into the rock by hands that may never have seen rain. At sunset, the entire facade glows with a fiery light, the mountains turning crimson around it, as if the sun itself pays tribute before disappearing behind the desert horizon. Yet perhaps the most extraordinary part of Petra lies not in what we can see, but in what remains buried. Ground-penetrating radar and satellite imaging reveal vast sections of the city, still underground hidden temples, streets, and unknown chambers. The desert has concealed them for millennia, and who knows what might be found when they are uncovered. Lost artifacts, sacred texts, or clues that might finally explain how the Nabateans achieved what they did. Petra has always carried an air of the supernatural. Travelers often speak of strange lights flickering across the cliffs at night, blue and gold glimmers that dance among the tombs, like the souls of the city's ancient inhabitants still wandering their eternal home. Bedouin legends claim Petra's builders were guided by jinn spirits of the desert who taught them the secrets of stone and water. Some even believe the site itself lies at an intersection of energy lines, a sacred node where the Earth's power flows freely. Whether or not such legends are true, there's no denying that Petra feels alive. When you walk through it, when you touch the carved walls still warm from the desert sun, you can sense a presence, a memory that refuses to fade. Every chisel mark, every shadowed doorway feels deliberate, as if part of a message left for future generations. Petra isn't merely an ancient city. It's a testament to human resilience and imagination, proof that beauty and brilliance can bloom even in the harshest places on Earth. It's a reminder that civilizations rise and fall, but their spirit, carved deep into the bones of the world, endures. And as the wind whistles through its canyons, whispering through its empty tombs, one truth becomes clear. Petra is not dead. It's only sleeping, waiting for us to listen. In the hills of Turkey lies a structure 7,000 years older than the pyramids. But who built it? And why did its creators intentionally bury it? High above the Bolivian Andes, where the air is thin and the land feels like the edge of the world, lies a place that defies logic: Tiwanaku, a city older than the Inca Empire, older than most known civilizations of the Americas, yet built with a precision that rivals modern engineering. Windswept and silent, the ruins of Tiwanaku stand as an unsolved riddle carved in stone, a message from a time we can barely comprehend. When the sun rises over the high plateau, its rays strike through ancient gates and align perfectly with stone pillars that have stood for over 1,000 years. But what if these ruins are even older than we think? What if Tiwanaku was built not by primitive hands, but by a civilization whose knowledge has vanished from history? This is no ordinary archaeological site. Tiwanaku sits at an elevation of nearly 13,000 feet, near the shimmering waters of Lake Titicaca, the highest navigable lake in the world. The first thing that strikes you is the scale. The stones here are enormous, some weighing over 100 tons, and yet they fit together with such precision that a knife blade cannot slide between them. How these massive blocks were quarried, transported, and assembled remains one of archaeology's greatest enigmas. The most famous structure at Tiwanaku is the Gate of the Sun, a massive stone arch carved from a single block of andesite, covered in intricate symbols and figures. At its center is the image of a god, with rays emanating from his head, the so-called sun god. Surrounding him are strange winged figures, each holding objects that look less like weapons and more like tools or instruments. Some researchers believe this carving represents a celestial calendar, a map of the stars and time itself. Others think it encodes astronomical knowledge far beyond what ancient Andean cultures were supposed to know. And then there's Pumapunku, a nearby site that seems to break every rule of ancient construction. Here, you'll find 8 blocks of red sandstone cut with geometric precision, straight lines, perfect right angles, interlocking joints that look as though they were machined by laser-guided tools. Some surfaces are so smooth they feel like glass. The Incas, who came centuries later, told the Spanish that Tiwanaku had been built by the gods themselves in a single night. Conventional archaeology dates Tiwanaku to around 501,000 AD, but some alternative theories, supported by geological and astronomical data, suggest it could be over 12,000 years old, perhaps dating back to the end of the last ice age. That would place its origins before the dawn of recorded history, before agriculture, before any known civilization. If true, Tiwanaku could be the remains of a forgotten world, a civilization erased by a cataclysm and remembered only through myth. And the myths here are powerful. The local Aymara and Quechua people believe Lake Titicaca is the birthplace of the gods. According to legend, it was here that Viracocha, the great creator deity, emerged from the waters to bring light to a world of darkness. He shaped humans from stone, taught them how to build, then vanished, promising to return one day. Many believe Tiwanaku was his creation, a city of the gods, left behind as a reminder of humanity's divine origins. But Tiwanaku is not just myth. It's science, geometry, and engineering fused with spirituality. The entire site is aligned with remarkable precision to cardinal directions and astronomical events. The Akapana Pyramid, once a massive stepped platform, was designed to channel rainwater through complex underground drains, mimicking the flow of rivers and possibly symbolizing the union between heaven and earth. This blending of architecture and cosmic order suggests a society deeply attuned to both the stars and the natural world, a civilization that saw no separation between science and spirituality. Even more mysterious are the remains of what appear to be advanced tools. Archaeologists have found drill holes in stone that seem to spiral like those made by modern equipment, and grooves that suggest the use of mechanical cutting or polishing devices. Skeptics dismiss this as coincidence, but others see it as evidence that the builders of Tiwanaku possessed lost technologies or knowledge handed down from a civilization long forgotten. And what of Pumapunku's purpose? Some believe it was a temple dedicated to celestial worship. Others see it as a landing site, not for gods in the mythic sense, but for visitors from beyond this world. The sheer precision, the magnetized stones, and the unexplained cuts have led many to wonder if Tiwanaku's builders were in contact with beings who understood the mechanics of the universe far better than we do today. When you stand amid those vast stones, surrounded by silence and sky, it's easy to see why such theories persist. There's something undeniably alien about this place. Not extraterrestrial, perhaps, but alien to our understanding of human history. Every stone seems to challenge our timeline, our assumptions, our sense of what ancient people could achieve. And maybe that's the point. Tiwanaku reminds us that the story of civilization isn't complete. There are missing chapters, entire eras erased by time, waiting to be rediscovered. As the winds sweep across the Altiplano and the sun sets behind the jagged peaks of the Andes, Tiwanaku still watches, patient and eternal. Perhaps one day, when the right questions are asked, it will finally speak. But until then, this city of gods and mysteries stands as a monument to humanity's forgotten brilliance, and to the unsettling possibility that we are not the first advanced civilization to, quote, walk this earth. Discover the impossible stonework of Bolivia's Pumapunku, where massive granite blocks fit together like machine-cut puzzle pieces, defying logic and ancient tools. Deep within the Cambodian jungle, shrouded in mist and reclaimed by nature, lies one of the most hauntingly beautiful places on Earth, Angkor Wat. When the morning sun rises, it ignites the temple's stone towers in a blaze of gold, and for a fleeting moment, time itself seems to hold its breath. But behind that beauty lies one of history's greatest enigmas, a lost empire that built cities so vast they could be seen from space, then mysteriously vanished. This is not just a temple. Angkor Wat is a statement carved in sandstone, written in stone, and whispered through centuries of silence. Built in the 12th century by the Khmer Empire, it was dedicated to the Hindu god Vishnu, but its perfection goes beyond religion. Its alignment with the stars, its engineering precision, and its sheer size challenge every assumption about ancient Southeast Asia. Angkor was once the largest city on the planet, a metropolis of nearly 1 million people when London was little more than a village. To understand Angkor, you have to imagine the impossible. An empire hidden in the jungle, connected by canals, causeways, and reservoirs so advanced, they rival modern hydraulic systems. Its architects weren't just building temples, they were controlling nature itself. The entire landscape was engineered to store, distribute, and recycle water, ensuring survival through monsoons and droughts alike. Today, satellite imagery reveals that the city's water network stretched for hundreds of kilometers, like veins of a living organism. This wasn't chaos. It was cosmic design. The central temple, Angkor Wat, is a masterpiece of sacred geometry. Every corridor, every tower, every carving has purpose. The temple's proportions correspond to astronomical cycles. The distance between certain towers mirrors the movement of Venus, and its walls are aligned perfectly with solstices and equinoxes. The bas-reliefs that cover the walls depict scenes from Hindu epics like the Ramayana and Mahabharata. But beyond the mythology, they seem to tell a story of cosmic order, of humanity's link to the divine. And then, there's the mystery of how it all ended. Around the 15th century, the Khmer civilization collapsed. The city that once thrived with life and light fell silent. Historians still debate why. Some say it was war, others drought or environmental collapse. But perhaps the truth lies in the very thing that made Angkor great, its mastery of water. The same complex system that sustained it may have doomed it when the climate shifted. The canals dried, the reservoirs failed, and the jungle took back what was once its own. But the enigma doesn't stop there. Deep inside the temples, there are carvings that shouldn't exist, figures of animals in shapes unknown to ancient Cambodia. Among them, one engraving stands out, a Stegosaurus. Yes, a dinosaur carved into the walls of a temple built centuries before the concept of dinosaurs even existed. Some call it coincidence stylized art, perhaps. Others see it as evidence that ancient civilizations may have known far more about Earth's past than we believe possible. There are also signs that Angkor was built atop something even older layers of civilization, stacked beneath the visible ruins, waiting to be unearthed. Ground-penetrating radar has revealed patterns that suggest an earlier structure lies hidden below the main temple, perfectly aligned yet distinct in design. Could this be the original Angkor, a forgotten version, erased by time and rebuilt by later kings? As the centuries passed, Angkor Wat became more than a ruin, it became a symbol. The French explorers who stumbled upon it in the 19th century couldn't believe their eyes. A lost city swallowed by jungle, larger than any cathedral in Europe. They called it the City of the Gods, and for good reason. To walk its corridors is to feel the pulse of something beyond history, a civilization that saw no separation between science, spirituality, and the stars. The temple's carvings also depict celestial beings, Apsaras, heavenly dancers who float along the walls with ethereal grace. Their presence is more than artistic, it's symbolic. The Khmer saw the universe as a dance, creation, destruction, rebirth, all in rhythm with the cosmos. Every brick, every relief, every reflection in the moat was part of that cosmic choreography. And that's perhaps the most incredible thing about Angkor Wat, its persistence. Despite war, looting, and centuries of decay, it still stands. Even when the jungle tried to erase it, the temple endured, as if the stones themselves refused to forget. When Cambodia adopted Buddhism, Angkor Wat transformed from a Hindu shrine into a Buddhist sanctuary, yet its essence remained unchanged. It evolved with time, like a living entity, adapting to new faiths without losing its soul. Today, Angkor Wat is no longer lost, but it still feels otherworldly. Tourists come by the thousands, yet when you stand alone at dawn, watching the reflection of its towers ripple in the lotus-filled moat, you can sense the presence of something ancient, something that speaks beyond words. Perhaps the true power of Angkor Wat lies not in what we can explain, but in what we can't. How did a civilization of the 12th century build something so perfect, so timeless, that even modern architects struggle to understand it? What knowledge did they possess that we've forgotten? The stones of Angkor do not answer. They simply endure watching centuries pass, waiting for us to remember what they already knew, that humanity once built not just with hands, but with harmony with the stars, with nature, and with the unseen forces that bind the universe together. Beneath the waves off Japan's coast lies a staircase to nowhere, a submerged pyramid city that challenges everything we know about civilization's timeline. There are places in this world where logic falters, where the boundary between human creation and divine mystery blurs, and Stonehenge is one of them. Rising from the windswept plains of Salisbury in southern England, these massive stones stand as silent witnesses to an age we barely understand. Every year, thousands gather here during the solstice to watch the sun align perfectly between its towering stones, the same ritual performed nearly 5,000 years ago. But what if Stonehenge is more than just an ancient calendar? What if it's a key to something deeper, a language of stone that speaks to the very cosmos itself? Long before there were kings, castles, or written words, Stonehenge was already ancient. Its first stones were raised around 3000 BCE, at a time when the pyramids of Egypt didn't yet exist. The builders transported these multi-ton monoliths from quarries hundreds of kilometers away across rivers, forests, and swamps with no machinery, no wheels, no iron tools. How did they do it? Some believe they used massive wooden sleds greased with animal fat. Others insist they harnessed forgotten engineering techniques or even acoustic levitation, the use of sound to move matter, a concept that still fascinates modern scientists. But the real question isn't just how Stonehenge was built, it's why. The site was clearly designed with cosmic precision. The stones align with the movements of the sun, moon, and stars in ways that would require generations of astronomical observation. The main axis of Stonehenge points directly to the sunrise of the summer solstice and the sunset of the winter solstice. This means its creators understood celestial mechanics. They knew the Earth moved in predictable cycles, long before the invention of mathematics or telescopes. And yet, Stonehenge doesn't stand alone. Across Britain and Europe, hundreds of stone circles, henges, and megalithic monuments share similar alignments. It's as if an entire network of prehistoric observatories once existed, all connected by an understanding of the heavens that we've only recently begun to rediscover. Some researchers even suggest that Stonehenge sits on a powerful ley line, a path of geomagnetic energy that ancient people could sense and harness. Could the builders have chosen the site for its energy, believing it to be a gateway between worlds? Archaeological discoveries add even more intrigue. Excavations near Stonehenge revealed traces of human remains, cremated bones buried in pits surrounding the stones. This suggests it was once both a temple and a burial ground, perhaps a place where the living came to commune with the dead. The alignment of the stones may have symbolized the eternal cycle: life, death, and rebirth, guided by the motion of the stars. The ancients may have believed that by building in harmony with the heavens, they could transcend mortality itself. There's also evidence that Stonehenge wasn't built all at once, but evolved over centuries. Each generation added new layers of meaning, rearranging stones, carving grooves, and expanding the site. What began as a circle of wooden posts became a ring of massive stones, and then an astronomical sanctuary. This evolving design reflects a culture not frozen in superstition, but actively experimenting, observing, and adapting. Scientists of their time cloaked in mystery. But beyond the archaeological data lies something more profound: a feeling. If you've ever stood within the circle at dawn, you'll understand. The air feels charged, as if time itself bends around the stones. When the first rays of sunlight break through and touch the ancient sarcens, a quiet awe settles in. It's as if the builders carved not just rock, but silence. A silence that still speaks. Over the centuries, Stonehenge has drawn endless theories. Some claim it was a druid temple, though the druids came thousands of years later. Others believe it was an ancient healing center, the stones possessing magnetic or acoustic properties that affected the body. There are even legends that giants placed the stones there, or that Merlin, the wizard of Arthurian myth, transported them from Ireland with his magic. While these tales may sound fantastical, they reflect a truth about Stonehenge. It has always inspired wonder, even among those who built it. Modern science continues to uncover astonishing details. Using advanced scanning technology, researchers discovered hidden carvings and buried stones nearby, suggesting that Stonehenge was part of a vast ritual landscape stretching miles across Salisbury Plain. Beneath the surface lie remnants of wooden henges, processional paths, and ceremonial avenues, all leading to the Great Circle. It was not an isolated monument, but the heart of an entire spiritual network, a place where the earth met the sky and the living reached for the divine. And yet, despite everything we've learned, the essence of Stonehenge remains elusive. Was it a calendar? A temple? A cosmic machine? Perhaps it was all of these and more. Maybe it was built not just to mark time, but to remind humanity of its connection to the universe, to the rhythm of the cosmos, the turning of the earth, the dance of light and shadow that defines existence. Stonehenge's stones have survived thousands of winters, countless storms, and endless speculation. They've watched civilizations rise and fall, yet they remain silent, eternal, and unbroken. In a world that constantly changes, Stonehenge endures as a monument to something greater than understanding the eternal human quest to find meaning among the stars. When you stand before it, under the open sky, you realize something simple yet profound. Those who built Stonehenge were not primitive. They were dreamers, astronomers, and visionaries, people who saw beyond their time. And though their language is lost, their message still echoes through the ages. Look up, for the answers have always been written in the heavens. In the deserts of Peru, hundreds of massive geoglyphs can only be seen from above. Why were they drawn, and who were they meant for? There are places where myth and reality seem to blur, where ancient hands shaped landscapes so mysterious that even time struggles to explain them. Deep in the jungles of Cambodia lies one such marvel, Angkor Wat, a temple so vast, so precise, and so hauntingly beautiful that it stands as one of humanity's most extraordinary creations. From the sky, its layout mirrors the universe. On the ground, it feels alive as though each carved stone breathes with the memory of gods and kings. But how did a civilization nearly 1,000 years ago create something so complex that even today's engineers marvel at it? As the morning sun rises over the horizon, the silhouette of Angkor Wat appears like a dream emerging from the mist. The reflection shimmers across the moat, a perfect mirror image of the temple's 5 towers, symbolizing the peaks of Mount Meru, the sacred center of the universe in Hindu mythology. It's here, in the 12th century, that King Suryavarman II ordered a structure so grand it would outlast his empire. Built as both a temple and a cosmic map, Angkor Wat was meant to connect Earth with the divine, a physical bridge to eternity. But beneath the breathtaking beauty lies a mystery that still confounds archaeologists. How did the Khmer Empire, without modern technology, cranes, or machinery carve, transport, and assemble millions of sandstone blocks, each weighing several tons, across miles of dense jungle? The stones came from quarries more than 30 kilometers away, transported by rivers, elephants, and sheer human will. Yet, every alignment, every carving, every chamber aligns with astonishing precision, especially with celestial bodies. The temple's main axis points directly to the sunrise on the equinox, while its towers align with the movements of Venus and the moon. It's as though Angkor Wat was not merely a temple, but an observatory, a cosmic machine that mirrored the heavens. Many scholars believe it was designed to represent time itself. Its galleries symbolize months, its towers the days of the week, and its bas-reliefs the eternal cycle of creation and destruction. Walk through its corridors, and you'll see thousands of carvings, gods, demons, warriors, and celestial dancers, all telling stories of divine battles and cosmic order. Every inch of Angkor Wat speaks the language of balance between life and death, heaven and earth, chaos and harmony. Yet, there's an enigma that science still can't fully explain. The foundation of Angkor Wat is built on sand, and yet it has stood for almost a millennium, surviving floods, earthquakes, and the relentless jungle. Some researchers believe the Khmer engineers used advanced hydraulic systems, channels, moats, and underground reservoirs, not just for irrigation, but to stabilize the ground beneath the temple. This mastery of water engineering is so advanced that modern hydrologists study it even today. The city of Angkor wasn't just a capital, it was a living organism, breathing through its canals and reservoirs, perfectly in tune with nature. But perhaps the greatest mystery lies in its endurance. The Khmer Empire eventually fell, its cities swallowed by the jungle, its people scattered. Yet Angkor Wat remained untouched, preserved as if protected by the gods themselves. When European explorers rediscovered it in the 19th century, they could hardly believe their eyes, a stone metropolis hidden beneath the roots of giant trees. Wrapped in silence and myth, it was as if time had paused here, waiting for the world to remember. Modern archaeologists, using LiDAR scanning, have since uncovered an even more astonishing truth. The surrounding jungle hides the remains of hundreds of smaller temples, roads, and canals, revealing that Angkor was once part of the largest pre-industrial city in the world. The entire complex stretches across more than 400 square kilometers, larger than modern Paris. It wasn't just a temple, it was a civilization designed around a spiritual ideal, harmony between man, nature, and the cosmos. There are also theories that Angkor Wat's design encodes astronomical and mathematical knowledge beyond what was thought possible at the time. Some point to the repeated use of the number 108 sacred in Hindu and Buddhist cosmology found in the dimensions, staircases, and towers. Others believe the temple was constructed as a kind of spiritual map, where each level represented a different stage of enlightenment. To walk through Angkor Wat, they say, is to journey from the human to the divine, from the earthly to the eternal. As you stand beneath its towering spires, the sound of the jungle fades, replaced by the whisper of the wind against stone. You can almost feel the presence of those who built it, thousands of workers, artisans, and priests who dedicated their lives to this sacred vision. Each carving, each pillar, is a fragment of their devotion. And though the empire that built Angkor Wat has long vanished, its essence lingers not as ruins, but as a reminder of what humanity can achieve when it builds with purpose, with spirit, and with wonder. Even now, at dawn, when the first rays of sunlight strike the lotus-tipped towers, the entire temple seems to glow not just with light, but with meaning. It feels less like a monument and more like a message carved into time itself. A message from a forgotten civilization whispering through the centuries. We understood the stars. We knew the rhythm of the earth. We built something eternal. And as you gaze upon it, surrounded by the songs of the jungle and the golden light of morning, you realize that Angkor Wat isn't just an ancient site, it's proof that human imagination has no limits. It stands as a bridge between worlds, a place where heaven once touched the earth, and perhaps still does. Massive hand-carved caves, discovered by accident in 1992 with no historical record of their creation. Who built them? And how were they forgotten? In the endless expanse of the Bolivian highlands, where the sky meets the earth in perfect reflection, lies a place so surreal it seems to belong to another world. This is Salar de Uyuni, the world's largest salt flat, and perhaps the most otherworldly landscape on our planet. It stretches across more than 10,000 square kilometers of pure white salt, shimmering beneath a boundless sky. But when the rains come, the desert transforms into a giant mirror, an infinite horizon, reflecting the heavens so perfectly that you can't tell where the sky ends and the ground begins. It's a place that feels both alien and divine, a masterpiece sculpted not by human hands, but by nature's quiet, patient power. As dawn breaks over the salt flats, a strange silence reigns. There are no trees, no animals, no wind, only stillness. The ground beneath your feet crunches softly, like walking on glass dust. The air is thin, sharp, and electric. And then, as the first rays of sunlight spill across the horizon, the entire desert begins to glow. The white crystals capture the light and scatter it in every direction, flooding the world with a blinding brilliance. For a moment, you feel like you're standing on the surface of another planet. Mars, perhaps, or some forgotten moon. But this isn't another world. This is Earth, at its most magical. Salar de Uyuni was once a prehistoric lake, a vast inland sea called Lake Minchin that dried up thousands of years ago, leaving behind layers upon layers of salt and minerals. Over time, the elements sculpted this expanse into a natural wonder. Beneath its surface lies a treasure trove of lithium, the metal that powers our modern world, from smartphones to electric cars. Yeah. Despite its industrial potential, Uyuni remains untouched in spirit, a raw, breathtaking reminder of nature's artistry. What makes this place so fascinating isn't just its beauty, but its illusion. During the rainy season, a thin film of water settles over the salt crust, turning the entire landscape into a perfect mirror. When you walk across it, the sky reflects beneath your feet, and suddenly, you're floating suspended between two heavens. Mountains appear to drift, clouds seem to rise from the ground, and sunsets stretch into infinity. It's an experience that defies reason and redefines what we think is real. But Salar de Uyuni holds deeper mysteries too. At its heart lies Isla Inkawasi, an island rising out of the salt like a mirage, covered in giant cacti that have grown for centuries. It's the only trace of life in this vast emptiness. From its summit, you can see the salt flats stretching endlessly in every direction, a sea of white that seems to swallow the horizon. Scientists believe these cactus-covered islands were once ancient coral reefs, remnants from the time when the high plains were covered by ocean. So, in a strange twist of fate, this dry desert was once full of life and may hold within it the memories of an ancient sea. There's also a quiet, spiritual energy here. The local Aymara people believe the salt flats are sacred, the resting place of Tunupa, a goddess whose tears of heartbreak filled the land and crystallized into salt. For them, Uyuni is not just a landscape but a living soul, a sacred mirror reflecting the bond between the earth and the heavens. Every year, rituals and offerings are made to honor the spirits that dwell here, asking for rain, health, and protection. When night falls, the Salar transforms again. The stars explode across the sky, mirrored perfectly on the surface below, creating a double universe, one above, one below. The Milky Way seems close enough to touch, its reflection shimmering beneath your feet. It's said that nowhere on Earth do the stars burn brighter than here at this altitude, under this silence. Standing there, surrounded by infinite reflection, you begin to understand why so many call this place the border of the heavens. Scientists, photographers, and travelers alike describe Uyuni as one of the most surreal places on Earth. Astronomers have used it as a calibration site for satellites. Because of its perfect flatness, it's said to be more even than the surface of a mirror, with less than a meter of variation across its entire span. Pilots once used it as a navigational landmark, visible from space, but to those who stand upon it, statistics and science fade away because what they feel is something deeper. Salar de Uyuni is not just a place, it's an emotion. It's the feeling of weightlessness when you can't tell sky from earth. It's the humbling silence that reminds you of how small you are in the grand design. It's the awe that comes from witnessing a landscape so pure, so infinite, that it defies logic and demands reverence. Here, time seems to stop. The air feels timeless, untouched by human noise. Even your reflection seems to stare back from another dimension. And in that stillness, you understand this is what eternity looks like. As dawn returns and the light begins to shift again, the illusion fades. The mirror breaks, revealing the solid salt beneath your feet. You realize that you've been walking on the bones of an ancient ocean, standing between two worlds, one that was and one that could be. Salar de Uyuni is both a window into Earth's past and a reflection of its endless wonder. Explore the magnetic mystery of Stonehenge, a structure aligned with the cosmos. What purpose did this monument serve for the people who raised its stones 5,000 years ago? High in the rugged heart of Peru, shrouded in mist and mystery, lies one of the most astonishing places ever built by human hands, Machu Picchu. Perched like a crown atop the Andes Mountains, this ancient Incan citadel has become a symbol of wonder, resilience, and the human spirit's endless quest to reach the heavens. But beneath its breathtaking beauty lies a deeper story, one of secrets, lost knowledge, and unanswered questions that still echo across the clouds. At sunrise, the first light spills over the surrounding peaks, and Machu Picchu reveals itself like a vision from another world. The terraces glow gold, the stone walls breathe in the mist, and the sound of the Urubamba River rises from the valley below, a whisper of time itself. Standing here, you can almost feel the pulse of history. Every stone, every stair, every curve of the walls seems to hold intention, as if the entire city were alive, designed not just for living, but for connecting with something divine. Archaeologists say Machu Picchu was built in the 15th century by the Inca Emperor Pachacuti, yet no one truly knows why. Was it a royal estate? A spiritual sanctuary? or a scientific observatory aligned with the stars. The precision of its construction is staggering, massive granite blocks weighing tons, fitted together without mortar so perfectly that not even a blade of grass can slide between them. The architecture seems to defy the limitations of its time. How the Incas moved and shaped such immense stones high in the mountains without iron, wheels, or modern tools remains one of archaeology's greatest puzzles. But Machu Picchu is more than an engineering marvel. It's a masterpiece of harmony between man and nature. The Incas didn't conquer the mountain, they became part of it. The terraces carved into the slopes prevented erosion while producing crops. The temples were built to align with the solstices and the constellations. Even the drainage system beneath the city was so advanced that it still functions today, 600 years later. It's as if the builders understood not just the earth, but the rhythm of the cosmos itself. The Temple of the Sun, one of Machu Picchu's most sacred structures, was designed with cosmic precision. Each year, during the winter solstice, sunlight passes through its window to illuminate the stone altar inside a celebration of the return of light and life. Nearby, the Intihuatana stone, known as the hitching post of the sun, stands like a sentinel. Some believe it was an astronomical device used to track celestial events. Others say it was a spiritual anchor, connecting the Incas to their gods. Local shamans claim that those who touch the stone can feel the energy of the mountains flowing through them, the heartbeat of the earth itself. And then there's the mystery of its survival. When the Spanish conquistadors swept across South America, destroying and looting Incan cities, Machu Picchu remained untouched, hidden by the clouds and protected by its isolation. For centuries, it slept in silence, unknown to the outside world, until its rediscovery by explorer Hiram Bingham in 1911. But even he didn't truly discover it. Local farmers already knew of its existence, calling it the Old Peak. Bingham's arrival simply pulled back the veil on one of humanity's most extraordinary achievements. Still, many mysteries endure. Why was Machu Picchu abandoned? There are no signs of war or destruction. Some believe disease brought by European contact may have spread through the region, forcing its inhabitants to leave. Others suggest it was deliberately deserted, sealed off as a sacred place meant to remain pure. Even today, archaeologists uncover new clues, hidden chambers beneath the site, ancient water channels, and burial sites that hint at a much larger story yet untold. What makes Machu Picchu so extraordinary isn't just its age or beauty, but its energy. Travelers who come here often speak of a strange calm, a deep connection that words can't describe. It's as if the city was built not just with stone, but with spirit, a bridge between the physical and the mystical. The Incas believed their rulers were descendants of the sun, and perhaps Machu Picchu was their way of drawing closer to that celestial heritage. Look around, and you'll see that everything, the terraces, the temples, the stairs, follows the contours of the mountain. Nothing feels forced. Nothing feels random. It's a reminder that true genius doesn't fight nature. It flows with it. The Incas didn't build Machu Picchu to dominate the world, but to exist in perfect harmony with it. In their eyes, the mountains were gods, and this city was their offering. Today, Machu Picchu stands as one of the new 7 wonders of the world, but even that title barely captures its essence. It's not just an archaeological site. It's a living symbol of what humans can achieve when they build with purpose, respect, and imagination. It reminds us that civilization isn't defined by technology, but by wisdom. The kind of wisdom that listens to the land and looks to the stars. As the sun sets and the mist begins to rise once more, Machu Picchu disappears into its eternal shroud. The air grows quiet, the stones fade into shadow, and you're left with a feeling not of mystery solved, but of mystery deepened. It's as though the city breathes, waiting for the right moment to speak again. And in that silence, high above the clouds, you realize something profound. Some places aren't meant to be understood. They're meant to be felt, to remind us that magic still exists, hidden in the folds of the earth, whispering to those who listen. A journey connecting the dots between these sites. Were they all separate marvels of ingenuity or fragments of an ancient, global civilization that predated history? There are places on this planet that seem to exist outside of time. Places where history and myth intertwine so completely that no one can tell where one ends and the other begins. Deep in the sands of Egypt, not far from the mighty Nile, lies one such place, the Great Sphinx of Giza. Towering over the desert with its silent, unblinking gaze, the Sphinx has watched empires rise and fall, kings crowned and buried, and the slow march of civilization itself. Yet even after more than 4,000 years, it refuses to give up its secrets. Who built it? Why was it carved? And what message was it meant to leave behind? These are questions that have haunted humankind for centuries. From the very first moment you stand before the Sphinx, you feel it, that strange, almost supernatural presence. Its lion's body stretches across the desert sands, while the human face, eroded but majestic, stares toward the horizon as if guarding something we're not meant to see. Measuring over 240 feet long and 66 feet high, it's the largest and oldest monumental statue in the world. And yet, its origins remain cloaked in uncertainty. Traditional Egyptology attributes its creation to Pharaoh Khafre around 2500 BC, the same ruler who built the second Great Pyramid of Giza. But many scholars and researchers argue that the evidence doesn't quite fit. The erosion on the Sphinx's body, for instance, shows patterns consistent not with wind and sand, but with heavy rainfall, suggesting that the monument could be thousands of years older, dating back to a time when the Sahara was lush and green. If that's true, the Sphinx may have been carved long before the rise of Egyptian civilization as we know it by a culture lost to time. And then there's the mystery of the missing nose. Often dismissed as a simple casualty of erosion or vandalism, the missing facial features have fueled countless theories. Some say Napoleon's soldiers shot it off for target practice, though evidence shows it was already gone centuries earlier. Others believe the nose was deliberately removed to erase the identity or the power of whoever the Sphinx truly represents. Was it Khafre? Or someone much older, perhaps even a forgotten god? At dawn, when the sun rises directly between the pyramids, its first light touches the Sphinx's face, a cosmic alignment that cannot be coincidence. Ancient Egyptians were masters of astronomy and symbolism. They saw the sky as a mirror of Earth, their gods reflected in the stars. The Sphinx, with its human head and lion's body, embodies this duality, intellect and strength, mortal and divine. It's as if it was built to mark the boundary between the physical world and the spiritual one, a guardian standing watch over eternity itself. But beneath the sands, there may be even greater secrets waiting. For decades, explorers and researchers have speculated about hidden chambers and tunnels beneath the Sphinx. Ground-penetrating scans have revealed mysterious voids, large, symmetrical cavities beneath its paws and body. Some claim these could be part of the legendary Hall of Records, a mythical library said to contain the lost knowledge of Atlantis or the earliest civilization on Earth. Official excavations have never confirmed such findings, and Egyptian authorities remain cautious, but the allure of that possibility continues to captivate the world. When the Greek historian Herodotus visited Egypt thousands of years ago, he wrote of the Sphinx with reverence, noting that its purpose was known only to the priests, guardians of sacred wisdom. And perhaps that's the point. The Sphinx was never meant to be fully understood by the ordinary mind. It was a symbol, a message, carved in stone, reminding humanity of something vast and eternal, something that transcends time itself. Even in the modern age, surrounded by highways and tourists, the Sphinx hasn't lost its power. Look into its eyes long enough, and it feels as though it's looking back not at you but through you, across the millennia. You can almost sense the weight of everything it has seen. The golden age of the pharaohs, the invasions, the revolutions, the rediscovery of Egypt by the modern world. Yet through it all, the Sphinx remains silent, as if guarding truths too sacred to speak aloud. Some believe the Sphinx represents the dawn of humanity's awakening, the moment we first looked inward and asked, "Who are we?" Its combination of man and beast may symbolize our eternal struggle between reason and instinct, light and shadow, creation and destruction. In that sense, it's not just a monument of the past, but a mirror for the present, a reflection of the duality that defines us all. At sunset, as the desert turns crimson and the air cools, the Sphinx takes on an almost otherworldly glow. The pyramids cast long shadows across the sand, and for a fleeting moment, time seems to stand still. The hum of the modern world fades, and all that remains is the whisper of the wind, the same wind that's carried across this plateau for thousands of years. You realize that the Sphinx doesn't just represent ancient Egypt. It represents something far greater, the endurance of mystery, the persistence of wonder. And maybe that's why it still stands today. Not as a monument to power or conquest, but as a challenge. A reminder that no matter how advanced we become, there will always be questions beyond our reach. The Sphinx asks us to keep searching, to keep imagining, to never stop seeking the unknown. Because perhaps the greatest mysteries are not carved in stone or buried in the sand, they're within us, waiting to be awakened. As night falls over the Giza Plateau, the Sphinx fades back into shadow, its features dissolving into the desert. The stars rise. The same stars the ancients once watched from this very place. And you can't help but feel humbled. For thousands of years, this colossal guardian has stood silent, eternal, and wise, whispering to the wind a truth we're still trying to understand. The past isn't gone. It's alive, hidden in the stones, waiting for those who dare to listen. As our journey through these ancient mysteries draws to an end, one truth becomes clear: humanity's story is far older and far stranger than we've ever been told. These ruins, these sacred sites, these silent stones, they are not relics of a forgotten world. They are the fingerprints of something greater, a legacy that still lives within us. Every temple carved into rock, every monument aligned with the heavens, every mystery buried beneath the earth, it all speaks of a connection between mankind and the cosmos. These people, thousands of years before us, looked up at the same stars we see tonight and wondered about their place in the universe. The difference is, they left behind monuments that still speak to that wonder, long after their voices have faded. Maybe we'll never know how they did it. Maybe the secrets of these ancient architects were never meant to be fully understood. But perhaps that's the beauty of it. The reminder that not everything in this world needs an answer. Some things are meant to stay mysterious, so that we never stop searching, questioning, or dreaming. As the sun sets over, the ruins and shadows stretch across the stones. One can almost feel time folding in on itself. Past, present, and future blending into one eternal moment. Because the story of humanity isn't written in textbooks or carved in history. It's written in the earth, in the stars, and in the endless curiosity that drives us to explore. So remember this: the next time you stand before an ancient monument or gaze upon a forgotten ruin, you're not just looking at the past. You're looking at the mirror of human potential, proof that we've always been capable of greatness and mystery. This world is vast, its stories are infinite, and its wonders have only just begun to reveal themselves. If you've felt even a spark of awe in this journey, imagine how many more secrets lie waiting out there, silent, timeless, and untouched. So keep exploring, keep believing, because the truth is never as far away as it seems. This is not the end. It's just the beginning of the mystery. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed exploring Prague as much as I enjoyed guiding you through it. If you found this travel guide helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more beautiful destinations from around the world. Got a favorite spot in Prague? Drop it in the comments, I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, safe travels, and see you in the next video.